Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek bonus round for The Batman, uh, only in theaters right now. So Matt Reeves is DC Batman, not part of the DC EU. So this is our spoiler cast for this, so welcome, everybody. Once again, we are on Twitch Tuesday nights. Please tune in. This will be a spoiler cast for those if you're going to tune in during this, just be aware we will be talking spoilers. Yeah. There will be spoilers probably talked about. We're going to talk about our thoughts really in depth without having to worry about spoiling the movie. So again, if you haven't seen this movie yet, go check it out. It's really good. We gave our impressions a little bit on the podcast. Mike hasn't yet, but Mike did see it this week. So we're going to get into this, guys. Last warning, final warning. That's it. Spoiler cast is on. The Batman. I absolutely love this movie. I thought it was fantastic.
Here, by the way.
What's that?
We're all
here.
If
I
you're
didn't introduce anybody. I apologize. We're all here. The normal
If you
crew.
have no video, yeah. Tony's here, Mike's here.
We're all here.
I'm here.
Yep.
Yeah. So
We're doing
guys,
this.
I mean, Mike, you saw it just recently. Now you didn't get to hear your impressions of it, so let's give us what you thought of it.
Just overall, vaguely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't need to break it down. I think we'll go through our favorite moments.
Well, I really liked it. I can't think of anything that's like bad about it, other than a shoehorned teaser for a certain character near the end that looked like Harry Osborn in Amazing Spider-Man. That was bad. Other than that,
yeah,
there's nothing bad about this movie at all. I liked the portrayal of Batman. Bruce Wayne was interesting. I could take or leave the portrayal of Alfred, I guess. Loved Catwoman. Loved that she was, allowed to be her own character, but also like still be Catwoman in a way. But I don't know if this is better. This is like Batman Begins level for me, which I really, really liked. But I don't know
with that.
No. It's a great Batman movie. This is like an 8.5 for me. But
exactly, there you go.
My issues with this,
not Keaton level.
Well, that's a different thing. Like that was like for Keaton for me is like being like 5 and getting toys. Like I can't really like view those movies objectively. I don't think.
You have a bias for it. Yeah.
It's just a very specific nostalgia, and I was very young when I first saw any of them, so it's a different thing altogether. My only issues with this movie, aside from that Joker or whatever spoiler or not spoiler teaser at the end, which was totally unnecessary and lame looking, would be my issues going in, which are, a lot of what we play with here is the fact that we all know who Batman is already, and we're doing a almost origin, but without the origin stuff again. We're getting a young Batman again, and at this point, I'm like, I want to see another part of Batman's career. We've done this over and over again.
The last Batman was an older Batman.
That's why he was interesting to me.
Of it. I was like, this is a totally.
That's why he was interesting to me. We have a post-traditional Batman. Now we're back. I don't know. This like Nolan's trilogy wasn't that long ago, and this just feels like
it was a decade ago.
Let's do that again. The beginning of it, maybe.
No, the end of it was a decade ago.
Rises it was a decade ago.
Yeah,
we looked it up on the podcast.
The DCU stuff between then and now.
Yeah, I felt like 5 years came and went.
I mean, Ben Affleck has been Batman for like a decade.
Yeah.
No, he hasn't. He's been. But either way,
since he was cast, probably.
What?
Since he was cast
about a decade ago.
Probably. Yeah. Probably close to that.
I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah. I think that I don't mind the young Batman. I do love the fact that we did not get the Waynes dying in an alleyway yet again.
Thank you. Yes, I have to give DC props for that, for not showing us the Waynes dying in an alley. Like, man.
But no, so really my only
though. Yeah, like because they talk about they have the connection with the kid and the mayor's son. I thought that was it was well done.
It was well done the first time, but like him showing up at the funeral, I was like, like just like the moment, I was like, okay, whatever. Like,
yeah. Mike, what was your only?
I mean, like again, it's just like it can't escape. Like, oh, you have to see the Batmobile, and then oh, you have to see you know, the Batcave and Alfred, and you're just kind of waiting for these things to get checked off because we all expect them in the Batman movie. And I mean, I obviously I'm a fan of Batman, and I don't want it to be like completely
Yeah.
weird, but I don't feel like it.
It's like if you have a Star Wars
It's
and
not,
not have
it's
Luke Skywalker showing up.
no, that would be
Yeah.
like without Batman, without
Right.
Batman,
Be
Gotham
right
Knight
back. I
stuff.
gotta right back. on it.
But to me, I don't know. It's not like the big interesting departure like The Dark Knight was, where you get like a sort of like a generation defining performance, a different take on a character that everyone knew already that sort of changes everything. It's not that level, and Batman Begins also sort of was also new in the way it presented Batman at the time. This is like, well, let's do the Nolan verse again, but 10 years later, and here we are again, which is fine because it was good, but I just, it wasn't anything like, there's nothing I disliked about the movie, but nothing like blew me away.
See,
Especially.
I liked the Riddler quite a bit. I really did like his character. I just felt like they lessened his impact with the ending. The third act of this movie, I thought
My
it kind
big
of
problem
lessened his
is the
impact.
third act of the movie. Like, I just
Yeah,
didn't...
we'll get to that.
Well, okay, where we going? Where we going?
I would like to talk about my favorite moments before we get into that. Like I just like earlier on, we can talk about the gripes there and our loves at the ending, but the earlier moments of the movie, I actually liked his first appearance, the vengeance part, because it's we don't even know it at that point. It's the point of the movie. Like that whole, his coming through the subway there to rescue that guy with the
Oh,
Joker
by the
gang.
way, that guy, and this might be, they might screw around with some multiverse stuff with this movie because that the kid with the half Joker face,
Yeah.
that kid who is pretty prominent in this, that is the kid in Titans season 3 who plays Tim Drake.
Huh.
Which I'm like, that's a weird casting for this situation. So I don't know if they're going to mess around with this.
It's just DC putting something in there to be like, oh,
Yeah.
we have it if we want it, and we don't
I
want it.
wouldn't want to see that. Tim Drake being that old, like he's that old at this point.
Yeah.
But anyway, but yeah, go on, Jim. Your vengeance.
I like the I Am Vengeance point. Like I love that sequence. I thought that was great. I think we talked about on the podcast, the club moments, all of them, right? I think the club moments were fantastic.
It gave me vibes I just played from playing Sifu. There's a club level, and this was very similar.
I just loved, like, you guys, he came up different ways. I mean, not different ways. As the movie progressed and he was, like, knocking on the door, it turned into him just getting into the place over and over again rather than trying to be nice. He just, forget this, I'm not going to deal with this crap.
It's his evolution, He's like, all right, I'm going to try to get in as Batman, but going through the front door. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to get in as this playboy billionaire. And then screw this, I'm just getting in, sneaking. It's like, I'm just not dealing with these dudes.
Yeah, I mean, Corey, what's some of your favorite moments earlier on?
Oh, I like the narration. I really like in the beginning the setup for this movie, and that we're in year 2, and obviously some of the payoff that we talk about later. But we lost Craig.
Why did Craig leave us? I didn't get an arrow.
He hates us, man. He keeps leaving us lately.
Fine, I'll just bring him back. Hang on. Oh, now actually that's better than before. I like this.
He's back, but we don't see him?
No, he's not back yet. I have to get him back in here. He decided to just say I'm done recording.
We don't have like a cap or anything, right?
What's that?
There's no cap to our recording, right?
No.
You have to clear out anything or anything, like cache or anything?
No. I just can't get him back in. There he goes.
Now recording.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, like some of my favorite moments in the beginning, I guess, is just the narration part. Like I like the setup of the movie and the character, and how you see the bat sign and all the criminals of the Gotham City are kind of like, oh, is he coming out for me? Because he's brutal, and like you talked about earlier,
the fear factor of it. Yeah,
right, and like he's rescuing this dude, but when he goes to like help the guy up, the guy's scared of him too. So he's like the monster also. He's not this beacon of hope that we come to know him as of in these other movies, and he's just like this, you know, vigilante character that really has no you know, it's just a bit more fear, and he says it. He's like, "I am vengeance," in that moment.
I think this is the closest we've ever seen him work with Jim Gordon, right? I mean, this is
Hmm?
he literally walked into
Like,
crime scenes with him. You know, I thought that was kind of cool. A new method of him just like walking through. It would have been cooler if he did like the I'm just going to show up in the corner of the room and start talking, the classic Batman style, and then just vanish as he was talking. But it's year two.
He did that on a rooftop once,
Yeah, he
I
did.
think,
It's year
at
two
least.
though. So, Tony,
But
some early on stuff.
Yeah, I like the narration part. I mean, for me, it was mostly about seeing him actually do detective work, and that was throughout the movie.
Yeah, yeah, that was
Because,
throughout.
you
Yeah.
know, that's what he really should be about. And I mean,
he
don't get me
wasn't
wrong.
particularly good though at being
Well,
a detective.
right, right, and we'll get to that. Snafu, I guess, a little later on, which made that
Yeah,
whole
that's in the
sequence
middle.
kind of
Yeah, middle
pointless.
of it.
I was
That's
just like,
near the ending. Yeah.
I was just like, all right, guys, I guess, because we didn't need to have this, but you know, whatever we do. Um, for me, it was like the fight sequences in this weren't actually that great. So even though in the beginning it was kind of nice seeing him, like, you know, protect the average person, average citizen, and stuff like that. Um, I don't know if you guys felt this, but like he got shot in the very beginning, that first, you know, scene where the dude
Yeah.
pulled out the gun and the other
Mhm.
guy's like, "Whoa, don't!" And obviously his suit has some kind of bulletproof technology,
No,
but like
this is the most bulletproof suit Batman has ever had.
I was just like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Okay, well, I guess he just shrugs that off." But then later in the movie, he just he gets like a clip unloaded, and I'm like, "All right, I guess I don't know. I don't know what." That's
I
something I
thought that
didn't
was kind
like.
of weird. The whole clip unloading like that. I mean, he can't be fully armored, bulletproof.
I
Yeah.
mean,
We've established that with
shot,
Batman.
shotgun slowed him down a little bit, but slowed him down. Like, honestly, like it's like he was playing a video game. Except if I'm playing Arkham, I think a shotgun will kill me quicker than what
Hmm.
happened to
Yeah.
him in this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But the
mean,
buddy cop stuff was great. I really appreciated like that collaboration between the two and how they were working together. And the thumb drive part was kind of funny. So I mean, this is like a dark film, but not like necessarily dark as in like uh, creepy dark, but just like
I
overall everything is dark,
I
visually
mean,
dark, and
just it's a
I
dark
did
film.
but there is like levity in this movie where
Really?
here and
some cool
there.
stuff.
There's not a lot here and there, but I do think,
I didn't think there
and
was any.
it pains me to say this, but this movie feels like it could have been or should have been R-rated because we've had like full blurry scenes in this movie to not show how these people are murdered.
Yeah.
A
I
lot.
mean,
It
When I say
happened more
levity,
than
I
once.
mean like
there
things that
there was
didn't
some brutal
necessarily seem
murdering.
like
Yeah.
um they belong in this movie almost, but like sure, like the thumb drive thing was like a joke. The Strays is a joke. Penguin's a joke. I mean, it's like there's a lot of stuff jokes in this movie, more than I expected there to be.
Yeah, in my theater, none of them hit though. I don't think people were ready for them. Like,
No,
no
and that's
one
why I don't
laughed.
think they were meant for laughs. I think it was just because like this movie's so dark, you just needed something to break it up.
Yeah. I mean, the problem that's one of the issues I had, I think, was just the darkness of it again. Like we talk about the Snyderverse and how
You
muted
mean
that was.
lighting wise?
Yeah, I think it was a little too dark myself. The filter that he had chose, that was I'm critiquing one of my favorite directors. So it's just what he chose. I just feel like that could have been a little better, but you know, it's year two. It's the first movie, so I mean that can be adjusted in the second. I mean, we've said ourselves like looking forward to a sequel to this movie. I think we're all looking forward to that. What they could do. My level is Dark Knight. I'm sorry, it's got to be Dark Knight for me. It's got to be Dark Knight.
It's gonna be tough,
I know, but that's where my level is right now.
especially with that shitty teaser at the end of this.
Yeah, let's forget about him. Catwoman, though, about middle of this movie really is where I think her character really took off. She was very, I guess, mysterious in the beginning, but we knew who she was. So I was kind of like,
I cannot stress enough. Thank God there wasn't this whole long sequence of her being like, "You were spying on me? Who are you? I don't trust you." None of that really happened, and I'm like, thank God, because it's so annoying when that happens in these movies where they have to like they had the one fight scene very short, which
yeah,
turned into almost foreplay type fight scene, and then they were kind of there together, although obviously she had her own goals, which she made very clear from the beginning. But I just like that there wasn't this whole annoying, like, oh, how will she ever trust him song and dance that normally happens when these types of characters are introduced to each other.
Yeah. And for a long movie, I felt like the first two parts of this movie, the first two acts, I'll call them, moved along like very quick. It felt like I was like, this is blitzing by, and I'm like, wow, it's been 2 hours already. But because I think like the information we were getting and the way it was streamed into the film with a couple of action sequences, then there's some slowdown, there's some, I guess, a little bit of like a flirtatious love story kind of thing going on, and then
work, the mystery,
detective work. I love that detective work. Like Tony had said, like we got to see the detective mode for Batman here, and it's like have never seen that in a Batman movie, never. And it becomes a whodunit, like it's becoming a mystery, and I loved it.
Well, they knew who it was pretty much the whole time. The problem was who was the rat, and then the rat was. See, I wasn't in love with who the rat was because a crime boss is the rat. It's like, oh well, he's already like a known criminal. He's just. I didn't find that incredibly interesting, and it's like, oh, but he's in charge of everyone. Okay, could have guessed that, but
yeah.
Again, I feel like going in knowing stuff about this universe hurts the movie a little bit, but that's how it is.
So, the Penguin was another. We talked about that a little bit on the podcast as well, and how good Colin Farrell was as the Penguin. There's two moments that obviously I wanted to talk about. Actually, they tie together. One, the Batmobile. The Batmobile moment was incredible sound. Like, I don't think I've ever been part of a movie that had a sound like that, where you just like you felt like you're like standing right in front of the car. So whoever mixed that was incredible in the theater I was in. Like, I did Dolby Cinema, and the seats were just shaking. And I the only thing I was wondering, like we joked about, did he stall the car? Like, it sounded like he stalled the car. I don't know what that cut was for.
I was like, wait, what's happening here?
Yeah. It was like revving up like crazy, and then there was just cut, and then it goes. But I love that whole sequence, and I actually really love that Batmobile. Like, I thought it was like the most, again, grounded Batmobile we've gotten, and he didn't kill anybody with it, which was another positive.
Question mark. I mean, there's a question mark. There's a question mark. This is one of the big gripes I have with this movie, is that
I don't think he did.
He fucked up the detective work on this part because, him and Gordon are like, oh,
yes,
a penguin is a bird with wings but can't fly. Maybe it's him. And it's like, all right.
The problem also was like, and this is, I remember, traditionally Riddler's riddles sometimes are very stupid and like grasping at straws. And most of them were good in this, but the URL thing in that was one of those stupid grasping at straw things. And so it makes sense that they didn't get that, because why would just El Gato sounds like, or whatever, El Rata, that's what it was. Sounds like URL. That's the conclusion we needed to make there. That was dumb. So I understand why they couldn't figure that out, because it was dumb.
Yeah, but the whole sequence didn't even need to happen. So it was just like, and don't get me wrong. I mean, just taking apart the chase sequence alone, that was good. But then you're like, well, wait. There's an explosion at the end. That trucker definitely died. Like, there's no way that driver walked away.
It's not his fault.
Indirectly, yes.
Indirectly, animated Batman's killed thousands of people too.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. But we're not talking about Batman the animated series. We're talking about the Batman.
But I mean,
his car's guns killing people. He's not doing that.
So it's okay for him to indirectly kill people. Is that what you're saying, Jim?
He can't save everybody.
Oh, you can't save everybody. Okay.
Batman, he doesn't not kill people. That's all I'm saying.
It's so dumb.
Every film Batman.
He may not have helped them. How about that?
It's so stupid because like every other part of the movie, he's shown as being like he can get the drop on people. He can stalk them. He can find them wherever they are. But like he wants the Penguin, so he shows up to a bust and then just fucks up because Catwoman arrives. It's like, dude, come on, get your head in the game here. Like,
well, it's year 2. Again, it's year 2. He's not the perfect detective.
Catwoman is distracting. She's very distracting.
She was, yeah.
Yeah, he got shot again too. So it was but whatever. The whole sequence didn't need to happen really. If he was just a bit smarter.
It does need to happen because he needs to intimidate Penguin going forward.
Yeah.
He needs to have Penguin know that he can get to him through everything going forward. So
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
good. I think
I
also,
like that.
although it's funny that that's pretty much the only time he uses the Batmobile. He uses a
Yeah.
motorcycle every other time,
Well, it's much
which
more
was
mobile
interesting.
for him, which
I
makes more
guess.
sense.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. That's the other
I
part. It's
mean,
like, how did he park that there without anybody noticing?
without
It's
nobody,
not. It's not
with
like
how
it's
loud that
discreet,
was.
right?
Well, I guess it looks more like a regular car than normal Batmobile, so you can just
Really?
park it wherever.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
It definitely does. It's basically a Camaro with a jet engine stacked,
Yeah.
strapped to the back of it.
Yeah,
essentially,
and
whatever it
lifted.
was.
You know, nobody noticed
lifted.
that at all.
But no, you're right. My thought was, did nobody hear that thing? Because that was incredible sound.
Silent mode. We don't know.
Maybe he put it there in the morning and just left it there.
Yeah. So, I like that sequence. It was fun, but I do understand the gripes for it. Yeah. So, then we get into the whole mob side of thing and the Waynes and their involvement. I thought, Mike, they were going full on Telltale.
Yeah, full on Telltale. Yeah, well, actually, what I do like is they left a few controversial things a little bit up in the air. For one, the who killed his parents and why question. They have, Maroni did it, or Falcone did it, or nobody did it. Some
I
random
like
dude.
how they left that a mystery.
I like that was up in the air. The whole Maroni Falcone thing, again, if you're not familiar with the comics, it might sound like who, but obviously we get the idea enough from the movie. But
who'd they get to play Falcone? No,
John
Maroni.
Turturro.
Turturro, that's what it was.
I don't know if we ever see Maroni.
Yeah, we don't see Maroni at all. It's Falcone I was thinking of. Again, I mixed up their names.
But again,
yes.
we only have Alfred's word to go by too. That
I trust Alfred.
Were actually good, or made a mild mistake or whatever by dealing with.
I don't like this rendition
Falcone
of Alfred.
with.
I know we didn't talk about him because apparently
he's very plain. He's very plain. We have talked about him.
He's hardly in the movie. He's very plain
too. I will say, like, Jeremy Irons, I felt was a really good for a short amount we had him as Alfred. I liked him a lot. And we've had Alfreds before. Michael Caine.
Yeah, if you're gonna go younger, Alfred, I think Jeremy Irons is definitely better.
Yeah, I think this was more Michael Caine's style, and I just felt like it was too much of a retread for that style. I didn't need that in this movie. I wanted something different. Like, we got a great Jim Gordon. Like, I thought that guy was fantastic.
Yeah, Jim Gordon was good.
He's good.
Yeah,
he's not. He doesn't get to be commissioner by the end, does he? I know the the other commissioner got murdered. So
yeah, no, he's not commissioner yet, which is good. Yeah. So I thought he was great, and I loved his involvement with, like, I love the capturing Batman and getting him just like, you're gonna have to hit me when he's trying to help him out and get him. He's like, we're gonna have to break you out of here. You have to hit me, make it convincing, and then steal my keys. And
that was after the funeral scene, right? With him.
Was that after that?
Because he woke up in
after it gets blown up.
And... Let's talk about that real quick, because this is another gripe of mine. Like, that dude, the guy was being held hostage to the bomb. Like, he stands right in front of him. Like, and then here's where I don't understand, because the Riddler, by the end, is like, oh, we're partners, Batman, blah, blah, blah. I idolize you. It's like, why would you let this bomb go right off in his face? And then the second part is, how did Batman just walk away from that? Like, point blank explosion.
Best suit he's ever had.
Super armor.
Plot armor, yes. Plot armor is the best. His mouth wasn't covered. I can understand if that got fucked up, but, like, come on.
The elephant gun really hit him hard. Those hit him hard. Those guns at the end of that movie, but which we'll get into shortly. But I thought, like, knowing that guy was not going to answer his question. I know he was trying to, but at some point you're like, there's 10 seconds left. Even if he tries, he's not going to answer this question. I got to get the F out of here right now. And just, I would have liked to just...
I also... knowing that Batman's not going to step, like, a couple feet away. Like, I don't blame Riddler for that. No. But, like, I do agree. It's like, you're not saving him. Why do you have to get closer to the guy? Like, just, like, push him away or something. Like...
Yeah. Not to mention, like, we're supposed to believe that unconscious Batman was dragged back to Gotham PD. Like, come on. They would have unmasked him right there and then. Like, it's so
Oh,
unbelievable.
Gordon
Yeah,
had
that-
Gordon had control though. Gordon had control.
How?
That's his guys. As
How?
they showed at the end, though, there's some good cops.
Too many moving parts, but I mean, we can nitpick like crazy. I mean, there's so many things you can nitpick if you really want to nitpick. Like,
So,
Well,
I
yeah,
like this
bulletproof,
sequence.
explosion proof. Like, I mean, I can give that one slide, I suppose. But come on, explosion proof Batman. I've never seen that toy in stores, so.
They've had him.
Oh,
He's got
explosion
fireproof
capes.
capes.
Okay.
Fireproof capes.
I do think I think the point of it though is he doesn't care about his own safety at all.
Sure.
Really.
That's the
Yeah, he
problem.
established that.
Says
He
it.
literally says it. He goes, "I don't care
Yeah.
what happens to me." It's like, okay, cool, but you're also standing in front of a dude with a bomb strapped around his neck, so.
Yeah. No, I thought that was good. I felt
It
Paul
might not have
Dano-
been that big of
Paul
a
Dano, right?
bomb. A lot of fire. Just his head explodes. Whatever.
It
Yeah, and
was
Paul
pretty
Dano
big.
was the Riddler, right?
it was Paul Dano was the Riddler.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, he was perfect for this. Such an awkward character, which is perfect. Like that was a really good
Up
casting.
until
and they
the
just
end,
played him
yes.
way
Up
here.
until the very end, I did not like his
Yeah. No,
breakdown.
you didn't like his. Oh, we'll get into that. There was an issue. with this. I just-
There was some laughter actually there a little bit. I think
Okay.
it went a little too broad here or there,
Let's
where
Let's
you
go
just
into the
sort of
third
laughed
act.
at him.
Let's go into the third act and give our gripes because I don't want to just hate on this movie all the way to the end.
We've all been,
'cause
all
we
you
like
guys
this
have been
movie.
doing is griping. I
I'm
don't
not
know.
griping at all.
They're
What are you
good stuff, really.
talking about? I'm talking about how much I love this
Oh,
sequence.
it
I love
sounds
this
very
sequence.
right now.
No,
I
no,
feel
I'm
like
just not-
I
I'm
watched
not
a different
stopping
movie
them.
almost.
I'm not stopping them. That's all. I've talked about the scenes I love. The third part of this movie, the third act, is where it got longer, and it could have been, in my opinion, 20 minutes shorter. Not the act itself, but the whole movie. If they kind of cut a couple of the brewery sequences and the prolonged
I don't.
shots, I feel like they could have shaved like the time off to make the third act a little stronger. And there were some issues we have at the end, which we will talk about shortly here. But I feel like the third act was very good. It just because the movie was a longer movie, it kind of it really didn't reach the goal line fast enough. You know what I mean? It just didn't get there. But gripes, guys, with this third act, it clearly is like the Riddler's low impact on the third act, essentially.
Well,
What
no,
trying to
he
do.
won. He essentially did what he wanted to. He's just not Batman's friend anymore.
I mean,
So-
I just felt like it was weird what he was trying to do, though. I was like, I never really understood that. Like,
He
was
well,
the
he
plan the whole
wanted.
time?
He wanted. Yeah, I guess.
He
You know.
was doing Al Ghul.
And this is
Yeah.
this is what I didn't like when. So, I guess we're just skipping around. But when Batman goes to the jail or Arkham to because
To
Gordon's
see
like
Riddler.
to see Riddler, and he just starts off with saying Bruce Wayne. I'm like, oh okay, gig is up. Like
Yeah,
he
little
knows.
little red herring.
Yeah, but he just
I
keeps
love
repeating
that.
it.
I actually love that. I'm sorry.
Well,
I really actually love
No,
it.
no, I like that, but then it's clear, like, it's like, oh, the dude knows. And it's like, wait, the dude doesn't know? It's like, how do you not know this shit, dude? Like,
He knows everything else somehow.
right, he knows everything else. He sends a mail bomb to fucking Bruce Wayne. Somehow Bruce Wayne can't afford somebody to screen his mail for, no bombs. He has to have Alfred do that, I guess. And the dude is so meticulous every other part of the movie that, like, he literally
He did it himself.
physically
He did it
kills
himself.
his victim in person, but he resorts to a letter bomb? Sure. Okay, whatever, I guess. But the part that killed me with the Riddler, like, the more he talked, it's like, oh, you actually don't know that he is Bruce Wayne somehow, which is fine. But then when he gets to the part where he's like, I idolize you. We're partners. We're friends. It's like, what? What made you think you guys were
He's
friends?
misguided.
Like,
I like that. No, that's the idea.
Well,
That's
no,
what makes him so
but
crazy. I like that.
The reason why he thinks that is he did exactly everything he told him to up until that point.
Yeah. He
Literally,
was-
and to the point where I think his plan was Batman would break him out of Arkham at that point.
I think he thought that they were.
I think that's what he thought would happen then.
he could have said that then. But anyway, so the thing is, when he starts going, when Batman goes, you don't, we're not friends. You're just a crackpot. Blah blah blah. And he starts having that breakdown where he's just like, screaming and howling and like walking around being like, no.
that's why I thought
It's
that.
like I was just like, I
No, I loved it. I thought that was perfect for the character. That's how he
I
had this
really
character.
liked it. I mean,
Yeah.
Riddler
That's why
basically
I
shot his
thought he
shot,
thought
man,
that.
and he got turned down, and he couldn't take it well because he's a psycho.
Which
He
So
gets
it's like,
shot
that's
down.
what-
But
that's-
okay,
He took a
which
shot
is fine.
and got shot
That's personal preference. But the thing that absolutely baffled me, it's like, okay, so the grand reveal, the grand plan all along for 2/3 of the movie is like, we gotta expose the corruption in Gotham, gotta bring out all these corrupt politicians and major players in Gotham government. It's like, okay, I can get behind that.
It
sure.
was a great plan.
Absolutely, 100%. But then at the end, it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, by the way, I planted some vans with bombs around the seawall to flood Gotham. And then I'm going to have my Twitch viewers, like 50 of them, show up with guns and just shoot people in the stadium. It's like, wait, what?
I didn't like that whole... Yeah, I was like, that's the part of... For me, I was like, that seems out of left field. It didn't go with the movie.
The thing that I didn't like about it is just like, well, he flooded the city. A bunch of other people are probably dead. His idea was that his, like, you know, alt-right friends would... or whoever those people are.
But that's the other thing, is why would he have alt-right friends? Like, everything he talks about is like leftist
progressive
views, progressive views.
But those are the same people.
No, they're
when
not.
You get far enough. Sure, it is. It's like, these people have money. Fuck them. Let's shoot them.
It just goes in a circle when you get that far. That far left, you get all the way to the right.
Okay.
They're all gun lovers in there. Yeah. So anyway, so the idea would be like they would kill all the privileged people who were able to get away to their safety. And ironically, the people would go and shoot them. That was his plan.
My other gripe...
I understand it was a plan. It was dumb. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, he's insane too, clearly.
Sure, but like if you wanted to kill people... No. If you wanted to kill people, then why wouldn't you put bombs in the stadium? Like, you planted C4
I understand where you're going, Tony, with this, but like
it'd be harder to plan it there.
Because like what he was doing was he's giving all these people that felt oppressed and felt like they didn't have any voice, he's giving them that power. He was giving them the same feeling and power that he had. Those people that
the shooters, the anonymous, anonymous.
These are crazy people, Tony. Remember this.
Anonymous Twitch viewers.
You're trying to put people.
Okay.
You're trying to give these insane people like rational thought. They don't have rational thought.
This is the whole justification for what his whole deal is.
They wanted to be a part of this. So he gave them a chance to be a part of it. Like that's the whole thing. It's not like I'm just gonna blow up these people. We're gonna do this together. We're all gonna be.
But I'm just saying,
this movement, this change.
I'm just saying again, for the whole movie, he doesn't show us any part like that. He wanted to have like followers and do that. It just came out. It's like, by the way, I got 50 Twitch followers, and they're gonna shoot up Gotham Stadium.
Every time he was doing a video, he was live. Like they kind of. Seemed like he had a following there.
Well, plus, like I felt like his follow through on the plan was like he got the mayor that he wanted because like she was trying to actually change the city, and he's like, I'm gonna kill her too. He's gonna do it.
Yeah, he just wanted to kill. He just wanted to.
No,
like, some people just want to watch the world burn, Jim.
He didn't. He didn't trust. She was
still
part of the establishment. It doesn't matter that. Like I said, alt-right.
Thank you for saying that, because that's what I'm saying. It retreads back to the Joker territory. Like
this whole movie does.
We've had that whole chaos. Is a throne or whatever. Ladder. Chaos is a ladder. It's like we've had that. It's like if it was actually really just being like whatever, I got you.
Sure, but
flood the city. Sure,
but that's a lot of what terrorism basically is. It's all the same idea, kind of. You feel that the system is oppressive, so you just
but we
kill everybody.
We never know why Joker wants to do it. Riddler was like, "Hey, I grew up in an orphanage, broken promises from starting with the Wayne family and throughout Gotham government for 30 years or 20 years, or however long it's been." It's like, okay, it's like, but I don't actually want people to get better. I just want to fucking shoot them up in a Gotham city. It's like, what?
Misery loves company.
I don't know.
I don't know why you're just because he has a more reasoned origin. Know what his end game would be better.
That's like he's definitely not the Joker from the Dark Knight. Like that's he's not that kind of character, but he does tread a lot of the same stuff that he does.
Is it because Joker wanted to break Gotham with that whole two boats, they both have bombs.
We just talked about it, Tony. Like he's treading a lot of the same paths that the Joker from Dark Knight did, but he had a reason to do it. Where you just said Joker didn't have a reason. He just wanted to watch the world burn.
Joker was chaos. But Joker was chaos.
Riddler had a motive for all of this. It just it didn't.
But what was his end goal? What was his end goal? Just bunch of people dead.
Uproot everything.
His end goal was to make all of the establishment on both sides pay for being the establishment, essentially.
I mean,
On both
see,
sides.
it's like it kind of
Yeah.
seemed like he just wanted to like have Gotham start over.
Yeah, I mean,
From
the problem I
scratch.
had, the other problem I had was Catwoman seemed to fade away in the third act more. Like I felt like her impact was not as, it just wasn't there. And even in like the last sequence, that fight sequence we were just talking about, I felt like she didn't have that great of an impact. Obviously, she rescued him, a sort of thing, but I was like, I didn't feel like she had too many moments there, and I also felt like the ending for her, like her father, obviously is the who they're going after, and
Falcone.
Falcone, and I just felt like her whole thing didn't pan out properly. It just didn't hit right in the third act for me, and that was the other part. Like the Falcone part with Bruce and Batman, that worked. It was great. Her father being Falcone and the way she wanted to get her revenge, it just didn't seem to be a good plan.
Why not?
And I don't know. It just didn't work right. Like, hey, you're this daughter of this woman. I'm going to shoot you, but I didn't plan this at all.
She's been planning it for how long?
But it didn't seem like she planned it. It didn't work. It just like it didn't plan it at all.
She's
been
not
there
the
forever.
planner. She's just someone getting by. She's not like some criminal mastermind in this movie.
I don't
She's
know.
just
I just felt like I don't know.
just there, and she's pissed off, and
I thought she was
had
an
more
awesome.
reason.
She was an awesome
ways
character.
to get-
She was an awesome
I
character.
mean, she was trying to find ways to get money from Falcone the entire movie.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I don't have any gripes with that. That was
other-
fun for me.
And she,
I did like how the Riddler won and the city is now flooded. But I felt like that we mentioned on the podcast. Actually, did we mention the podcast? We were talking about it maybe, but that's the way the movie could have ended. Was
It absolutely
like,
could have ended right there.
yeah. Forget the
And it would've been
post epilogue. Yeah.
No,
That
I
post
see.
epilogue.
I liked, but I thought the best action scene was the scaffolding
guns?
stuff.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't think.
yeah. I think it.
That's right. But
I like it.
He got shot.
I know
there
he
were a bunch
did,
of
but it
untrained
doesn't matter.
tool bags. He just mopped up the tool. It was mop up. They were they were peons. He was mopping them up.
And they had a lot of shotguns, and they're all like doomsday prep people. They've all trained themselves. They're crazy.
Yeah.
oh, probably
So-
centers, sure.
Yeah.
But no, I like that last scene, and obviously that's also that sequence is where he does become hopeful. Where
he does learn his lesson there. Yeah.
yeah, he stops being scared, although he was scary, but then they got over it, and the whole brings the flair, the sort of like Pied Piper type deal when they come out of there. That was important, I thought. The only thing again like that I would really cut would be the stupid Arkham teaser for Harry Osborn Joker.
Yeah,
I felt like that
was
didn't need to be there
terrible.
either.
That was.
And he apparently cut other sequences with the Joker too at the end. There was another sequence he
Yeah,
filmed. They
it
cut
just the third act of this felt like it
Shouldn't
had
have been Joker.
4 endings at least. It was like Return of the King. It's like okay,
It was Return of the King.
end movie.
Yeah.
It's like no, we're still going. It's like okay, end movie. No, okay. Now this is
Yeah,
the ending of the
that-
movie. Nope, still going.
It
It's
is
like, okay.
it is something that makes you question when he does end it. It's like, oh, it's just going to be them leaving on motorcycles. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Is this actually the
Interesting
ending?
that
Or are we gonna
that's
get
the
another
one.
epilogue? Are we gonna get another epilogue? I love. You know what's funny is about that sequence? That's the first thing we ever saw about this movie being shot.
Yeah, it was
they
that,
shot
that
that
sequence.
really early.
And
just remember the-
I mean,
the-
you have to give him a lot of
the
credit.
graveyard
This
is
movie
pointless.
so many like disruptions and like issues and
Oh, no, for
right
sure,
during
yeah.
like the peak of COVID,
Mhm.
and it came together.
It was-
like you wouldn't
It was
even
so.
know.
It was so awesome. Again, we talking about how much we hate. The movie was great. Like I'm sorry.
No, I know.
but
Like, my big issue is primarily with the third act. The first two thirds of this movie, I can't really criticize at all. It's like
movie's a 10
pretty
for
good.
the
It's
first two
amazing.
thirds.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like damn, edge of my seat. Like 2 hours flew by,
Loved it.
but like that last hour, it's
Yeah.
like okay, all right,
Yeah.
like, okay,
It
here
would
we
have
go.
been 40 minutes. It was 40 minutes. I bet you that would have been. That still would have been 995. It still would have been not
See,
as
I
perfect.
don't have a problem with
I
the
like
third
all
act
of it.
other than the Joker thing. Really, I think.
Well,
And
wish it was Calendar
jerking
Man
you
with the
around
Joker.
a little bit there with the
Yeah.
false endings, but I don't really mind it that
So,
much.
I did want to move
Did you-
past this. Wait, go ahead.
I'm speaking more generally again. Did you appreciate or feel like it was too on the nose the themes for Batman and which sounded a lot like the Imperial March and the whatever song that was for Riddler
He just
because
kept
it was
trying to.
Ave Maria. song,
Yeah.
essentially.
yeah Ave Maria no because it was a lot of that over and over
There was a
again.
lot of that. The soundtrack is
I
that.
love the
That's
music.
it.
Yeah.
But I thought it was good. I think I love that
I mean,
sound too much.
yeah.
I
Four
think that
notes,
I would
man.
like to see. Yeah, I think I'd like to see that expanded in the next movie. Some actual maybe some homage to the older Batman movies as well. Um,
No,
but
separate yourself.
I was going to ask before I move on. I want to ask you guys opinions of where this is going. But any other action or sequences you want to just quickly discuss before we move on?
I did think it was funny that one in the dark scene was pretty much the same
Hallway.
thing as The Dark Knight Rises, but
It was better
Yeah.
though. It was better.
It was better.
Oh,
It was
yeah,
better.
it was better. Well, he was also getting hit again this time around, but
Yeah, that's
it's funny.
that's the other thing that like I'm curious what the background will be as they move forward because like other
That's what I'm
iterations
saying.
of
Now we're
Batman's like
moving
he's
into
trained
that.
right. So it's like what are we supposed to believe like Alfred just taught him like how to fight like all these years like that's his training.
That's what I
like,
got
don't
from
know.
it. I mean, that's what I
you
got from
have-
this,
you
but maybe
have
it's
the
not.
special agent Alfred in the comics who
Yeah.
was like
But
military.
I do
We-
like. But again, I
We
just want to
also-
like.
Oh, hold
But
on.
again, we dealing with mystery. Like I,
Yeah,
I like that.
No, that's
aspect
that's
of-
fine.
we
But
don't
like,
need it all
like
answered.
you could
Yeah.
talk about it a little bit, or plan a teaser,
They-
like other than
they
that.
do address-
The
yeah,
thing
they
I
might
want to go
address
back because I have to mention this. The thing that stuck out to me is like the most bizarre is when Alfred gets bombed. Okay, like you could clearly hear and see like Bruce's like reaction, like oh I'm trying to call you, dude, pick up the phone, trying to race home to do this. Explosion happens, trauma, whatever, that whole thing. And he shows up at the hospital, and a couple, he doesn't wake up the first day,
Yeah.
but whatever the next visit is, Alfred's
first
just
thing,
like
yeah.
like smiles at him, happy to see him there by his bedside. And the first thing Bruce says is, "You lied to me." I'm just like, oh my god, you fucking edgelord.
That's Bruce Wayne right there. Like if I was
I,
Alfred,
I think once he like understood he was okay, he'd be like, "You, that's who he is." But I am glad they gave him, by the end of that conversation, he's like, "Oh, I care about you." Like handhold, like that. They didn't even need to do that. So I'm glad that happened too.
Yeah,
Because more often than not, they make it out so Batman is just like super hard to deal with as someone who cares about him. So
My only gripes in
he
this
was
entire
a
movie.
little
I think
softer.
this movie was fantastic. My only two gripes was the Joker thing. I think that should have been Calendar Man. And then that scene with Alfred's like you immediately like believe this one guy, and then you immediately believe this other guy.
Yeah.
This other guy you've lived your entire life with, who raised
why-
you. It's like,
why not wait until Alfred
why would
answers
you not
the question?
Like,
yeah.
Why
Yeah.
would you not talk to him and like,
Be like,
why would
"Hey."
you accuse him? That
What
made
what
no
happened
sense.
here?
But
You need to tell me
other
because
than
like
that-
I've heard some shit. You
Yeah.
could have said that to him.
Like if I was Alfred, I would just be like, just pretend
Dude,
like
no.
yeah, you know what? I'm back in the coma.
So going forward,
I
guys,
think he was more upset he
rogues,
just didn't tell him, like instead of being lied to.
Yeah.
Batman villains. Do you want to see Mr. Freeze? Because I heard that's a good possibility.
God,
Do-
it's so dicey to try to make that
But
like
could they do it
believable
down-
in live
grounded?
action.
Hi guys. Do we want to? I want to see it. I want to see grounded
Yeah,
Mr. Freeze.
I want to
think
see.
it
I
would be
want to see.
kinda cool.
I would like to see
How does
Mr.
that work?
Freeze grounded and done correctly. I would love to see Poison Ivy corrected. But actually, what I'd love to see really is Clayface because that I
that'd be
think
kinda
opens up a lot of opportunities.
How is that
to
even possible either? Grounded.
A grounded Clayface. I
can do it.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, you can do it. Like,
I don't think
Yeah.
either of those characters can work in this
I mean,
universe.
it's still
to
a
be honest.
fantastic. It's still the guy was blown up. He was shot multiple. It's still a fantastical world. I mean, grounded, yes, but you
It's
can
the
still
most
have these kind
grounded
of
out of
things.
all of them.
Yes. I
But
don't
as
want
far
the
as the
Joker.
future goes, like I think they should do Hush next. Just
I
based
think he's
off-
going to be. I
They-
thought-
It'd be, like, no
they
man's
did-
land.
They did
Yeah.
name drop
Oh,
him in there,
So
although it's slightly different.
But I mean, it's a,
But
he's a big
I think we get-
like, Riddler thing. So.
I think we get two. Villains at least. So I do believe we'll get Hush and maybe we'll get Mr. Freeze as the old.
Unfortunately, I think
Technically,
we're
three
almost.
people in this movie, so.
Unfortunately, I think we're gonna get another Joker rendition. It seems
No,
like
I don't think he'll do
know.
Joker next. I don't think he'll do it
so.
next.
why wouldn't
because
they? Why did they bother spending that time to like show him like that?
Build up. Next
Why
movie
did-
they'll build it again.
Why did they put him in Suicide Squad?
Yeah, build up. They'll build him up
He
again.
was in that movie.
I think we'll get the Joker in the third movie. Or we're gonna get
I don't
Bane.
know.
because they also teased- they
I would
also
love for
teased,
them to just not have Joker in this.
No,
He definitely-
I mean,
Yeah, you don't need him.
I don't need him.
It's guys. He definitely injected himself with Venom, right?
That was the other
Yeah,
thing.
so it
It was
looked
really weird because it's like, is this like, is this
I
Venom?
figured.
It's green.
No,
It's
I figured
glowing
it
It was
green.
green glowing
Yeah,
liquid.
but
It was
the idea
Venom.
was it was
I
supposed to be like
assumed it was
epinephrine.
Venom. I mean, he's taken Venom in the comics before. So.
Yeah. So I think that's a cool thing to have maybe Bane, but that's like a Nightfall thing. That's kind of early on for that.
Yeah.
Unless they
I
want to
mean,
do more
plus,
than 3
like, you have
movies.
basically a setup for No Man's Land also now. With,
Sure.
Yeah, No
Jimmy
Man's
Hoffa
Land
being
does seem like it
disconnected.
can happen next, which is good. I would like to see it, sort of marinated on more. They've touched on the No Man's Land type things
Is No Man's
pretty
Land supposed to be
frequently
like
in these movies.
Arkham City, where it's like, oh, Arkham's now just like a lawless zone, martial law.
More or less,
Okay.
in No Man's Land, there's it was a earthquake, and then all the bridges are cut off, and then the rest of the country is like no one's allowed in or out, and basically gangs take over sections of each area.
That feels
of
like
the
that's
city.
what they're going for. Because I mean, one of the
Yeah.
ending shots was ending shots was Penguin just looking out there from wherever
Taking
he
over.
was, and
Yeah.
thinking of, and somebody who's even narrating. I think it might have been Batman, where it's like other players may seek their
There was hints,
opportunity
apparently-
or something like that.
There's apparently hints we're going to get Black Mask as well. So,
Okay.
you know,
They do run the
Interesting.
risk of doing like just too many mobby bosses in a row.
yeah. So I think though we will get my prediction. I do think we're going to get Hush, and I think we'll get might get Bane tied into that. That's kind of crazy, but I think it could be tied in together with that. I don't know why.
You know for sure that Penguin should be central. You would think in the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's Hush and Penguin, we got the seeds already in this movie.
I mean, Penguin that big? I guess you could do it that big already. And then I think the third movie would be the Joker. Finally, we'll see.
Well,
I don't know.
apparently,
I don't know.
Maybe.
apparently Robert Pattinson's favorite Batman villain is Condiment Man. So maybe.
I also saw Nick
Robert-
Cage. Nick Cage was on record saying he wants to play Egghead.
Yeah.
My God. What did you guys think of Pattinson? Because my brother watched it with me, and he said, "Great Batman, but he wishes someone else was Bruce Wayne." He didn't.
I would
like
argue
his
we didn't have
Wayne.
Bruce Wayne in this movie.
We didn't have Bruce Wayne. He didn't care about
Like,
Bruce Wayne in this movie. That was the
again,
idea
thing
of
I
it.
love
That's the
about
point
this
of it.
movie, man, is like
Yeah.
he doesn't know who he is.
No, he's learning.
He's
He's
still
learning,
trying
yeah.
to figure out like the Bruce Wayne
He
and
needs.
the Batman.
He
and,
didn't
like,
even.
the
He didn't want to
separation
be
between-
Bruce Wayne. They established that real early with like
Yeah, he's like
Alfred
a
telling him he's
recluse.
got to go to these things, and I'm like, he doesn't want to do it at all. He wants to
Yeah.
just be Batman. So
There was like an
I don't-
interview with him, and he talked about how he did his Batman voice, and like he would switch his Batman voice with his Bruce
He-
Wayne voice here and there because he like the character didn't know who he was yet, and so
That
like,
is something else I noticed too. His voice is Batman Begins Bale voice.
I
Also, he
disagree with
did
you
the
on
same.
that.
He does
I would
similar
disagree.
things with his mouth, too. I noticed.
I mean, it's Batman. You gotta do the Batman stuff, but I disagree with the voice. I think it's.
I disagree with the
clear.
Bale thing, but yeah,
No,
it's
I
much
think
clearer.
it's
It's
the
less
first one.
growly. It's less growly. But
Yeah.
Batman Begins wasn't like the Dark Knight.
he
It's
said
closer
"swear to
to that
me"
than you
really
think.
loud.
Yeah, that was.
"Swear to me."
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, dude. Okay.
It's not the things.
Is that any different than what did you do?
Yeah, it sounded like that's the thing. It's not. I'm gonna breathe through my nose and talk to you like this. Is that pretty good?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Let's end this one up, guys. That's the end of this bonus round, folks. This is the Batman
I love
bonus
this
round.
movie. I
Once
think
again.
I.
Do we want to?
Oh, yeah,
do we want to
8.5,
score
maybe
it or something?
9.
We usually score them.
I give 8.5.
Yeah, that's right where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'm a little
8.5.
lower. I think 8. Again, see, I'm all about how it ends, and just for me, if it had ended earlier. And here's what I would actually argue. We don't have to talk about too much, but I would say this would have been much better as a miniseries on like HBO Max. You could have had
it would've been
6
so good.
episodes.
And I'm actually, but thanks to Peacemaker, I'm psyched for this HBO Max miniseries we're getting of
No,
this
I am.
universe.
I
Yeah,
agree with
Jim.
that.
We're getting 2 series.
Yeah, one for
right?
Penguin and one for
Yeah.
Arkham.
But,
But I would argue, like, without there's not that much spectacle in this movie. I mean, I think we can agree, right? Like the special effects, barring like
Yeah.
the stadium part, maybe, with the flooding. But like, this could have been easily been a miniseries, stretched out to 6 episodes, and each one could have been dedicated to like a riddle and stuff like that. And then I think may have let them have time for that third act to like just come together a little bit more, because it felt like long but at the same time super rushes. Like, oh, it's like we finally got this one guy, and he's like blurting out everything. It's like, okay, well, we just got to take care of these things now. But I think it just would have been better as a miniseries.
They could pull a Snyder cut on HBO Max.
No, he's already said
he's
already said this is the
Jim.
director. He's already said this is the director's cut.
Okay.
There will be no director.
Yeah, I'm gonna get. I'd say this is a 9 for me.
Cool.
Easily a 9, if not a little higher.
I'm happy to hear you that high on it. Like,
I mean, I love this.
I thought you were lower on it. You're the one that was like, I think people overhyped this. I was like, all right, and I agree with you. I think it was overhyped.
That's the first thing I thought when I came out of this movie. Like, this movie's overhyped. But like, I still
but
like
it's still
it.
damn good.
I think it's a 9.
It's still really good.
If I haven't
like, the
seen
more
a
I think
Batman
about it, the more I
movie,
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, more, and I want to see it again too. But like,
I want
the
to see it
thing
again
is, for
too.
me, like you said, like it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And I do agree, there's some like little bit of issues with the third act, but the ending for me like wraps it all together really well. I think like this Batman and how he starts and where he gets to, like, that journey. Like I needed that. I needed that time to get there.
I appreciate the journey from like I do. I love symbolically and thematically the thing from I have to be more than vengeance. Batman has to be hope. I love that. I do love that. I just think
progression,
for me personally, it didn't hit. I think they could have ended it in a way that was shorter and in a way that like we didn't have that mess of like, hey, we have to have a third act climax kind of thing with the fight and guns and special effects and everything. But thematically, I love him going for that. Yeah. But yeah, no, I love thematically how it ends there.
And I know you, Jim, you're saying like shave it a little bit here, shave a little bit there. But every moment, like I felt like it was great. Like I didn't want to shave a moment here or shave some time there. Like him coming out of the shadows. Like I loved that the theme, him walking in the shadows.
I told you that was like the first sequence I talked about was that. I mean, I love that sequence, but I'm not. Yeah, no, there's like some parts I feel like they could.
Him getting out of the Batmobile in that moment, like that, like him.
That was a beautiful shot. I love that shot.
Yeah.
Like
I think that sequence could have been taken out, but that was
cinematography was great with this. Yeah.
And this is probably the best. Yeah, the best directed, best filmed cinematography, filmed wise, best.
Yeah.
Batman
Best sound
movie in that.
Best sound I've heard in. Yeah. It should be up for an award for sound.
Yeah, absolutely. I talked about Love Line Regrets, but the movie was excellent. Like I said, the first 2/3 were
and
close to perfection.
Yeah, you're itching for more. Like you want to see these.
Yes.
That's why I didn't want to leave. Like I love the length because like I didn't want to like leave this universe yet. Like I just wanted more of it. I wanted these characters because every like lead character, like named character we know, like every actor just was like top notch. And
they were fantastic.
Alfred,
nobody phoned
it in. They did not flesh him out, so like it's hard to like give him criticism. But I just don't like the actor that they picked. But yeah, I mean, who knows? The sequel they may justify the choice there, but. Yeah, I love this movie. I can't wait to watch it again. And yeah.
All right. That's going to wrap up this bonus round. Thanks for tuning in. You can write us allycangeek@gmail.com. Watch us on Twitch. Jesus. We're on YouTube the following day. More Gamecast, Moviecast coming up. We'll see you guys. We're out.